Okay, we're live.
Is it ready? Stream one. Megan, just clarifying we're good to go.
Sorry?
Are we good to start?
Yes.
Thank you. Call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. Thank you all for attending. Really do appreciate it. I don't think we have a sign-in sheet going around for today, but it'll be cool. We'll make it work. But yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and get forward with the agenda. So are there any amendments we need for the agenda for today? Sujana?
Yes. Oh, right. So can I add a special presentation? Megan has the link in the slides already. It's like the fall intern presentation that I mentioned last week.
Okay, Megan, did you catch that?
Yes, it has been added.
And last addition, is the funding guideline, just kind of as a, a precautionary step, for the books for grants.
Okay, thank you. Gonna pass it over. Sorry.
Sure.
Sure. We're gonna pass it to Sherry, which is proxy for EVP.
Well, can we strike bag and gross allocations?
Yep. And then before I go to Lucy, can we also strike ARC on behalf of Alicia? Okay, let's go to Lucy.
Can we please strike capital contingency? And then also just another quick note, I'm in a separate meeting and I won't be able to talk for the contingency programming. Would it be okay if I just pasted the numbers in the chat for the requested and the total allocated?
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other amendments to the agenda? Cool, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda for today, January 23rd.
I second. All right, Jack's motions, Jonathan seconds, all fair, please raise your hand. Please raise your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 10 to 0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. All right, now moving to our minutes. Hope everyone had a chance to review those from last time. And yeah, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from last week's meeting.
Thank you. Can I have a second? All right, Sarah motions, Mason seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 9 to 0 vote, that is approved. Okay, thank you for allowing us to approve our agenda in minutes. Now we'll be moving to public comment. So please remember we're public for comments. Our Canadian guidelines, strategy is not individuals, gender inclusive and respectful language. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from accountability. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes and the opportunity to speak once. And we'll go ahead and start with public comment in person. And then if there are public comments on Zoom, also proceed to raise your hand now. So for in person, please raise your hand as well if you're here for public comment. Sure. Yeah.
Hello. Okay. Hi, I'm Claire from Calvert. Do super quick update. Recap from last week. Our big kickoff meeting is tomorrow. We're gonna officially launch all of our campaigns. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. The other thing is our Fight Fast Fashion campaign is having a big event on Friday. It's like a performance art piece thing where they're gonna make a sculpture of like a dress made out of like pre-used clothes. It's really cool. And it's gonna be on Friday at 4 in the Kirkhoff Grand Salon. And they're doing it in support of a bill called SB 707. I'm sorry, I'm like reading this because I don't exactly know what the bill is. Okay. But generally, the bill is a producer responsibility bill. It's trying to make changes to California's waste code to have producers of fast fashion be responsible for recycling the post-consumer clothing to divert it from landfills. So it's a super cool bill, and they're going to be collecting petition signatures and things like that at that event. But yeah, that's a little bit about what we're doing right now. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you have a good rest of your meeting.
Appreciate you. Okay. Any other folks for public comment on in person? Going once, going twice. All right, now we're moving to public comment on Zoom. We have Eliana.
Hi everyone, good to be here. So first of all, just want to say how much I appreciate all of you, and special shout out to Tyra. I've been seeing all the events you're doing. Those are amazing, very cool. Anyhow, there's a funding opportunity for students and benefit the California college student community, which I've listened to theory all about. I figured I'd just come here to share it with all of you. So there's a group called the Jewish Free Loan Association, and they're looking to do interest-free loans for low-income college students of all backgrounds, ethnicities, religions, etc. And they've tried to get, I think it was 30 million from the California State Legislature before, but they were running a deficit, so they didn't do it, but they're trying to do it again, and they want students to talk about how this would be beneficial for us in our communities. So if any of y'all are interested, you can email Rachel Rose, who directs the Jewish Free Loan Association, or you can contact me. I'll put the information in the Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, given that there is no one else from public comment, we'll go ahead and close public comment at 7:11 p.m. And then moving forward with our agenda for today, let's go ahead into funding. Our first one will be contingency programming, which I believe was put into the chat right now. Okay, reading from the chat, this week we had a total contingency programming request of $41,297.31, and we recommend an allocation of $12,923.66 for 39 non-USAC entities and 1 USAC entity-related events. Happy to answer any questions. Any questions about contingency programming? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve contingency programming?
I motion to approve contingency funding for,
The
I don't know,
$12,923.66.
12,923
23
and 60 cents
for 39
for 39
Non-
non-USAC entities
and 1 USAC.
and 1 USAC entity.
Thank you, you're a real trooper. Okay, can we have a? Okay, John, for motion, Mason seconds, all in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. All right, with a 7-0-1 vote, wait. 7-0-1 vote, contingency is approved. Thank you. All right, moving to SFS allocations. Let's go ahead to Chi. Yeah,
I don't think that was enough votes. Eight votes counted plus you would be 9. It's not all right now.
I don't think. Fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sorry, count, just how much makes it me.
Yeah.
It's only 8.
Three.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's clear that you all have already.
gotcha. Do we need to repeat the motion?
All for recount and again for, yes.
Okay, we're gonna do a recount So all in favor for the contingency programming amount, please raise your hand. And, all right, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. Okay, thank you. So 8-0 to 1. Contingency is approved. Thank you. It is, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, okay, now moving to SFS allocations. Cheyenne, go ahead. Or I think you put in the chat.
Yeah, so for SFS this week we had a total requested amount of 3,000 and total allocation of 3,000 to non-CSE affiliated organizations and 0 CSE affiliated organizations.
Thank you. Is there any opposition? Going once, going twice. That is approved. All right, now moving to SWC programming fund allocations.
Yes, this week we received, SWC program fund received $0 in requests from USAC entities and then $3,014.92 from 5 non-USAC entities. We are recommending an allocation of $164.92 to the 5 non-USAC entities.
Okay, is there any opposition there? All right, that's approved. Thank you. Okay, moving to ASRF allocations.
Yes, this week AAC allocated $1,000 to 1 non-USAC entity.
Thank you. Any opposition? That is approved. AAC travel mini grant allocations.
Yes, this week we allocated $2,259 to 6 non-USAC entities.
All right, any opposition there? Question?
Yes.
All right, the travel mini grant is approved as well. Okay, now do we have numbers for TGIF from anybody? No, okay. Then moving to BOD allocations. Sarah?
For BOD allocations, we have allocated, I believe it's 61K to, I don't have the exact numbers up with me, but 61K to, I think, maybe a certain number of non-USAC entities. Iris, let me see if Iris, I can share the spreadsheet.
Okay, can we come back to that then? Yeah. Because, and please try and find it quickly because I think we would lose quorum in a few minutes. So let's just listen.
Iris is in the
Iris be
meeting.
promoted.
Yeah.
So what?
The budget review director is Iris Shi. Can she be promoted?
Okay, oh, wow.
Hello. Can
Hi.
everyone hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, so thank you for being here, council. So basically, the total requested is 141,446, and the total amount allocated is 66,323. And in total, we have, there's, in terms of non-USAC versus USAC entities, what I'm guessing is that USAC entities are like directly part of USAC, for example, like the office of the president, something like that.
So any commissioners would be USAC entities and also some of the.
Sponsored orgs.
Yeah, and commission sponsored organizations as well. So like. Body image counselors. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you got it. So is it possible to get that number over?
Yes, I believe there is around, okay, I don't have it for certain, but I can give you that there is at least 3 USAC entities. So we have the transfer office, we have the Cultural Affairs Commission, we also have the office of the president.
Feel free.
And is it possible that I can send in the chat later on the exact number of organizations because there's quite a lot of repeats this year. And I can give you the exact number of what's it called again, USAC entities within like the next 5 minutes. And I can also put in the final amounts in the chat.
Just give me 1 sec. Jessica.
Yeah, sorry. I just realized, I'm just yelling. You're all over. I just wanted to ask, if you have the full list of allocations and details that have been shared out for council to review before voting on? And if, go ahead.
Wait, sorry, you can continue. Sorry for cutting off.
Oh, no, you're fine. That was just my question. And then if it hasn't been shared out yet, the follow-up is, are there any events that are time sensitive to where we could maybe table this to next week so that you have time to review the allocations? Because we really shouldn't be voting any allocations that the details have not been reviewed. And I think some of the allocations are missing on the spreadsheet. Most of them are missing on the spreadsheet.
They just got added.
Yes, I can put them on by like within the next few minutes actually, because quite a few of them are time sensitive.
So then, yeah, I would recommend if everybody could review it really quickly and just try to look at the details as best as you can to make your vote. And then go ahead and motion.
Okay, so I did see how there's like not all of them. Okay. Yeah, how long did you say it would take you to put all of them on the document?
In terms of transferring everything to the authorization document, I say around 15 minutes because I do have everything like ready. I just need to paste and format. And in terms of like having the raw numbers, like the total number of USAC versus non-USAC entities, that can be done within the next 5 minutes.
I can figure out the non-USAC from USAC entities. I just need you to
Okay.
put the
Authorization spreadsheet. Okay, that can be done. And I'll put it, and I'll speak in the chat when I'm done with that.
Yeah. And then what we're also saying now, because if it would take you longer just because of the formatting, if you have your own doc with the allocation and the details on it, we'll take that just so that we can review and vote.
Okay, I will let me see.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can drop it in the chat or send it to the listserv with the USAC commissioners, that would be
Oh,
great.
yeah. Oh yeah, we do have that. Should I just drop it in the chat and
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, not the best timing for this, but I did notice that there was one allocation I missed, so I want to like revisit my allocation so I can make sure the right numbers on the record. Because the TGMF allocation for this week is a different number, so is it okay to take a revote and to re-clarify that?
Yeah. While we wait, yeah, go ahead.
This week, the correct final TGMF allocation was $3,759 to 6 non-USAC and 1 USAC entity.
Any opposition with that one? All right, that is approved. Thank you for clarifying. Megan, would you mind sending that link into our Slack?
I can do that, yes.
Thank you. Everyone go ahead and take a look at the document Megan and Iris shared with us, either via the Zoom or via Slack. And then let us know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please.
Also, I changed the permission so that it's only viewable, just to make sure there's no edits, from any unauthorized people.
Thank you. Does anybody need more time? Going once, going twice? Okay, thank you. So now can I have a motion to vote on BOD allocations?
I move to approve the USA bond allocations for $66,323.16.
Have a second?
I second.
Jen's motion, Jonathan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. Thank you. With a 9-0 vote, that is approved. Okay, moving forward, we have special presentations. Our first of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 5. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with Room 1 access presentation and Adams. Oh, is it? Okay. Okay, I don't have access to promote them, so Megan, if you can, we have Scott to be promoted, Guy Adams, and is that it?
I don't see Peter on.
Okay, that'll be it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone's time this evening. My name is Guy Adams. I'm with ASU CLA. And I'm here with my colleague Scott Chapman, who is from the book department at the UCLA store, and he's really heading up the project for Bruin One Access. So at this point, I will turn this over to him, and he has a presentation for you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Thank you very much for having us this evening. What we wanted to do this evening is review our Bruin One Access program. And I'll go ahead and jump right into that. Bruin One Access program is a course materials program that we're looking to institute for fall 2024. Really what we're looking to do is build upon the existing inclusive access program that began back in 2016. And kind of capitalize on all the successes of that program and expand it to go ahead and increase accessibility to course materials and affordability for UCLA students. If you're not familiar with inclusive access, it is a digital only program. Those materials are delivered through Bruin Learn. Like I said, we started that in 2016 with just a few titles. And as of fall 2023, it's actually providing over 52% of the course materials adopted on campus for required course materials. The limitation of that program is it is only digital, and it's also limited by the number of faculty that want to participate in it. But when we look at calendar year 2023, we had over 95,000 materials delivered through that program. When we add up the UCLA student participants for the program, we had over 56,000 students participate. And we saved UCLA students $1.17 million. And that's a really apples to apples comparison of the regular digital list price for the material if you went out and just purchased it on your own from VitalSource or RedShelf or any one of the vendors versus our inclusive access price. Now, really what we're looking to do with Bruin One Access is take the next step with this program and generate more savings for UCLA students. What that program is going to do is cover all required course materials. So all required course materials for undergraduates taking undergraduate classes. Now, predominantly it's a digital first program because that is where the greatest savings are. But where digital is either not available or not appropriate for the class, and think about chemistry lab manuals or just some class where a digital material isn't feasible. We will actually be covering print with this as well. And we're projecting that the savings are going to be in $2 million or more. And that's essentially us stepping up with the program. As I indicated, it's digital first. So we're going to be trying to put everything to digital where at all possible, but we'll provide print where necessary. You're going to continue to have that day one access to the materials. So as soon as your faculty member turns on their Bruin Learn course website, you'll have access to the materials. And you'll continue to have that no cost review period through Friday of second week of the term. What this is really doing is it's providing all those required course materials at a subscription level. So it's going to be essentially like Spotify for textbooks. You're going to pay one low rate. That rate is being determined right now, and we're very close to announcing it. But I can say, based on us narrowing it down, it's going to be in the $125 to $135 per student per quarter. We hope to have that rate coming out very, very soon. The added option with our program, and this is a unique twist. There are about 264 of these kind of subscription programs currently in our operation as of 2023. All those programs are essentially at just the subscription level. And if that's not right for you, you do have the ability to opt out. What our program is going to do is essentially offer all those required course materials at the subscription level. But if that isn't appropriate for any given student, if they have a course load that's either small or there's just not a lot of required course materials, they're going to be able to actually change their plan and drop into inclusive access. When they drop into inclusive access, any of the materials that we're just going to be print will show our compare shopping experience, and you can shop for those. But for each of the ones that is digital, we'll show essentially an individual inclusive access price. So a student who doesn't feel like they need all the materials or doesn't have a heavy course load can look and pick from available digital offers at the inclusive access price. And again, what this is attempting to do is build out upon inclusive access and expand option and expand choices for students. One of the things we're also doing with our primary partner for this, VitalSource, is we're trying, obviously ebooks are a much more sustainable way to provide textbooks versus printing up textbooks and shipping them back and forth across the country. But VitalSource is taking it a step further, And as of 2023, they're going to be buying carbon offsets for the impact of our digital books and our print books as well. One of the things we want to also point out is obviously there's an allocation in financial aid to cover textbooks. That allocation actually for 2024, 2025, according to the Financial Aid and Scholarship Office, is about $761. So obviously our textbook program, if we end up at say $135 price or less, that's going to be the maximum amount that any given student would be faced with. And they can potentially gain additional savings if they have a smaller class load by dropping down to inclusive access. They also have the option to opt out of the program entirely if it just doesn't suit them and they want to go get their course materials on their own. This is an opt-out program, just like inclusive access. And it's just important to know that students will have the choice to participate at whichever level best suits their needs or to opt out entirely. Some of the people we've been engaging with this program over the past 6 to 8 months, we've been working on this since late spring, early summer. Really, our focus was working with campus departments, faculty, administrators. These are some of the folks we've met with already. We're getting close to about 50 meetings so far. And really what we've been trying to do is just talk to those on campus, get additional feedback, explain the details. We're obviously coming to USAC at this point, and we've had some initial discussions with Shuzana. But we're looking for feedback. We want to kind of shape the program. And first and foremost, we want to make sure that this program doesn't end up being a surprise to anybody when we go to roll it out in fall 2024. Some of the things this is supporting on campus is obviously, we know that UCLA students especially are comfortable with digital. We participated in the 2023 Student Watch survey. And one of the big questions on that survey was students' comfort with digital course materials and what their preference was for digital versus print. UCLA students specifically within that survey indicated that almost 50% of the time they prefer digital in every circumstance. About 26% of the time, UCLA students said it really depended on the course, and about the remaining 24% said print. The interesting thing about that preference for digital is when we look at the national survey results, which were over 15,000 students nationwide, the preference for print was about 16%, or excuse me, for digital was about 16% higher with UCLA students than it was nationwide. So we really think that UCLA students are ahead of the curve in terms of their comfort with digital. And so it supports programs like Inclusive Access and Bruin One Access. We also want to emphasize with this program that students do have choice. They can make changes within that opt-out period to either opt out, switch down to Inclusive Access, change their mind and go back into the subscription level. But during that period of time, they'll have access to those course materials from day one. It also maintains complete academic freedom for faculty to choose the materials that they think best suits their class. And one of the really important things is we want to make sure that everyone understands that we need to continue all the affordability efforts that are occurring on campus currently. And that includes open educational resource efforts, the materials that are accessible through the library. And then essentially we fill in the commercial side of that, the things that have to be purchased essentially on an individual basis for students. But in order to keep the prices of course materials low, we need to continue all these efforts. So we're very supportive of library and OER efforts. And actually some of the tools that we're putting in place for fall are going to allow us to better connect students with those materials from the library. When we discover that a material is accessible through the library, we're going to list that. When faculty choose to provide OER links to us, we're going to help list those. So it just makes it easier to connect students with all of these resources. One of the exciting things that's been coming out in the last few years from Dr. Michael Moore, who's been researching the impacts of inclusive access and equitable access programs like Bruin One Access, he's indicating that preliminarily, and there's preliminary research on this, and a lot more research needs to be done, but these programs are impacting student success as measured by their grades and retention to degree completion. Again, more research needs to be done, but it does make sense that if we can find ways to get more of these important required course materials into students' hands, they're doing better in their classes and they're graduating. We also want to point out that this obviously there's a campus digital roadmap for just digitizing things. This advances that with the ebooks. Sustainability efforts, obviously ebooks and programs like this are much more sustainable than the traditional textbook. And then just furthering efforts to lower the cost of course materials. We've already created a Bruin One Access website. It's available here, or if you just Google Bruin One Access, we have an extensive website with a very lengthy FAQ to kind of get into the weeds about how we expect this program to operate. We've also established an email address that's being monitored by myself and my staff with any questions. But that is essentially our presentation. We do want to emphasize that our textbooks programs that we're instituting are really a cost recovery program. Textbooks have long not since been a profit center for ASUCLA. And so everything that we're trying to do with our textbook operation is just to provide low-cost materials to students and where possible, recover the cost of operating those things. We are looking to partner with USAC. I think there's a lot of progress that can be made with faculty. As we talk to faculty, while many faculty are very aware of the affordability issue of textbooks, there are some faculty that are not. And so there's a lot of things we can do working together, both from the store and the faculty and the student perspective, to try to encourage faculty to look at some of these affordability efforts. As we deal with inclusive access, we often tell students that when messaging comes from both the store and from students, it's especially powerful with faculty. And so we're really interested in opportunities to kind of team up with students or USAC or any organization to kind of champion these efforts. And from there, just if anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Thank you. Opening it up to council members first. Do you have any questions? Jess?
Hello. Hi, I had a question. I've experienced in the past classes that require you to have course readers that you write on or like are expected to take quizzes on and other like very specific materials like that. How would the program account for those materials?
Well, I could let Guy jump in on some of the specialized course readers, but in general, course readers will also be a part of this program. And what this program is intended to cover is essentially traditional textbooks, whether they be digital or print, course readers, and traditional courseware. Now, initially, that's what we're looking to cover. This program could be expanded in the future to potentially cover other things. But we also expect there's going to be a decent amount of things that you guys are currently being expected to go elsewhere and buy that's not routed through ASUCLA, specifically courseware. And so we expect some of that to come out of the woodwork, and we're going to evaluate all those on a case-by-case basis. In terms of consumables that might currently go through CRS, Guy might be able to better speak to those.
Yeah, if there's an instructor who requires a physical course reader, so something that you have to tear the page out and fill it out and write on and turn in, then that the reader will be provided in a physical fashion. So it's if that's what the instructor is requiring, then that's how it'll be provided. But the way that we will be trying to provide them is digitally. That's the most cost-effective way. But again, if the mode of instruction and the modalities that the instructors are using requires some sort of paper hand-in or turn-in item, then we will absolutely comply with that. And that will be included.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. I have a couple questions. So given on the slide 5, I believe it is, Bruin One Access, it says covered through financial aid. Do you have an estimate of how much of the student population would be actually covered by financial aid? I know like with our transit referendum, they were able to put out a statistic, I believe it was around 66% were going to be covered by financial aid to cover the transit pass. Is there a similar estimate for Bruin One Access?
I don't have an estimate in terms of how many students are receiving financial aid. We did actually just recently meet with the executive director of the financial aid, and they provided us at least the need numbers in terms of what UCLA was estimating course materials were going to be at. But I don't have the percentage of students that will be awarded financial aid. That's not information we actually have available. The projection for next year for the need is actually $761, according to their office for the year. And obviously our program in the 125 to 135 range is going to be much lower for that when you add up the 3 terms. But in terms of who's being allocated financial aid, I just don't have that numbers.
Okay, thank you. And then follow up to that, is it the estimate still around $150 per quarter for this program? Or have the numbers shifted?
So the numbers have definitely shifted. When we've done multiple financial analysis over the last 2 years looking at this program, and we're actually on our third round. We've been looking at 2 years worth of data to try to get as broad a scope of the adoptions that are being used on campus. But as we've been doing this, we've been lowering prices through inclusive access and others. Our last analysis was looking at the most recent 3 terms. So that was winter last year, spring, and this fall. And using that just 1 year's worth of data to keep it the most recent. That's where we've gotten down to the point from the 150 mark that we think we're going to be in the 125 to 135 range. Again, right now we're just making some final calculations. We've been working with publishers and doing the analysis. But we think we're going to be in that 125 to 135 range at this point. So it has definitely come down. We've also been asked by some of the administrative entities that we were working at, because we tend to look from cost and work up rather than taking any estimates and working down. But we have had some administrative units ask us to say, well, what are UCLA students spending? And obviously that's a challenging question, because you can go anywhere for textbooks and what students choose to buy and not to buy. But we've been able to come up with some estimates, and actually we're projecting for next year that the price for UCLA students, adding in those things that we don't currently have requests for, that we know students are essentially being asked to go out and get, that we're closer to the 160, 162 range when you factor in price adjustments for next year and whatnot. So that's kind of our number that we're kind of trying to discount down from, down to the 125 to 35 range, but we hope to have a price very soon.
Okay, thank you. And then give me 1 second.
I would.
One last question. For your Bruin engagement with the list of departments and various centers you've gone to, definitely appreciate that and trying to get the word out and listening feedback from different sources of campus. I was just wondering, based off the academic departments you went to, especially how you mentioned that some faculty were kind of unaware of the costs and burden on prices for textbooks. Do you say if there was like one or several that were like more unaware? I'm just curious.
I think it was individual faculty. I think the vast majority of faculty are very aware of the cost of textbooks. And one of the challenges with textbooks, and I've been on campus I was a UCLA student in the early 90s, and I've been on campus for full time for over 28 years. So I'm hyper aware of the textbook affordability issue. But there are faculty out there that we do hear from that don't think textbook affordability is a problem. We know that in addition to just the net expense of textbooks is difficult, but it also comes at a time when most students, it's some of the last expenditures students make. And so those textbook dollars can often be the most painful, because as you're running out of money, those last few dollars count. But we do, in talking to faculty, we do understand that some of them are still just not aware of the impact to students of textbook affordability. So I think there's opportunities if we promote a program like this, just to kind of reinforce that with all faculty, so they're hyper aware. One of the things we're going to be doing this winter is essentially developing our plans to start getting this information out there to more students. Spring quarter is going to be our opportunity to educate the current UCLA student population, and then we'll transition into summer to working with orientation programs to start educating the incoming students, both first years and transfers. But winter quarter is when we're going to be working on all those messaging. So I think there's a lot of opportunities to kind of unify that store and student voice to just emphasize how important affordability is for those who may not be as aware on campus.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't want to speak for our Sujana, but I would definitely want to be involved in those conversations of getting it distributed. Okay, looks like she's interested as well. So definitely if you can keep us in the loop of how that messaging is going out to students, I think you can also think of some creative ways to either help in that process or provide feedback as well. So yeah, but thank you for your presentation and answering our questions. Is there any remaining questions? Okay, we have one last question.
I'll just ask one last one about the last point about faculty, because I remember it was a kind of a point in our previous discussion about academic freedom for faculty, as well as deadlines for requesting materials and like the amount of print versus digital materials they'd be able to request. So I just wanted to ask what the plan was as well on the faculty side to, I guess to make them aware of what those, like rules and regulations are, and then also if those like rules and regulations have been finalized or if those are still changing.
Well, in terms of any kind of regulations, we do have deadlines for faculty, and that's really to give us the opportunity to seek out every possible alternative, to look at digital where it may not be instantly available, but it's something we can pursue. Obviously, the earlier we get requests from faculty, the more options we have to provide savings. If something isn't available digitally, it gives us the opportunity to go to our vendor and to the publisher itself and ask if it's available digitally, can it be included in our program? When requisitions come in late, it just ties our hands in terms of activating titles like that. And so generally speaking, faculty are asked as we call it a deadline, but it's really a soft deadline, to turn in requests for the next term by Friday of fourth week of the previous term. So essentially, this upcoming fourth week of winter quarter is technically the deadline for faculty to submit spring quarter requisitions to us. Now, it's more of a guideline than anything else. We will take requisitions all the way up until classes start, and we will attempt to get those materials for faculty, whether they be print or digital. But obviously, the more time we have, the better. Now, in the traditional model, back when there was a lot more used books around, one of the reasons the deadline was early is to give us an opportunity to keep going after used books, because used books were one of those things that you have to kind of go again and again and again to try to amass them. We're not going to have that anymore. And the used books availability has gone just dramatically down in the last 5 years. But we want that opportunity to go out and solicit those cheaper digital books where possible and talk to faculty about options. Or if they're bringing in new courseware, there's a lot of system integrations that have to happen on our side to provide that to you. And so we need time to set those things up. So that's kind of the rules and regulation is. It's a soft deadline. And I'm sorry, it escapes me. What was the other part of your question, Susanna?
It was that, and then also like in the same way that there was a student kind of informational campaign rollout timeline, if there's the same for the faculty as well,
We've been reaching out, like I said, to faculty for the last 6+ months, soliciting honestly anybody and everybody we could meet with, whether it was with department chairs and deans up to vice provosts and whatnot, and then getting in front of as many faculty as possible at their faculty meeting. We've had a number of different departments that have taken us up on that. And we've also been sending out information via the weekly reminders we send to faculty to get requisitions for the following terms. There's been a lot of information we've embedded in those emails, trying to direct faculty to our webpage so they can get more information. And we're going to be continuing to look for opportunities to get in front of faculty as much as possible, but we will be transitioning more towards focusing on current students and new students in the spring and summer. But we're always open to talk to people that want to come and talk to us about this program. The biggest thing with this is we want to make sure we get the information out there and that this doesn't end up being a surprise to anybody come fall. Our hope is obviously after we get through a few terms with this, essentially this will become just a norm, just like students know they need to register for class, they'll know they need to make their decision about course materials. And it'll just become one of those normal things that each student does at the beginning of each term. But there's a long way to go in terms of just getting information out there.
I actually had a question. I'm sorry, I'm just saying it until now. I actually wanted to ask about the decision-making process of choosing an opt-out system versus an opt-in system. What was kind of the decision behind that?
So to really boil it down, the way we get discounts from publishers is an opt-out model. Without an opt-out model, publishers are not willing to give us discounts. Now, when Inclusive Access was first developed back in 2015, when this was a brand new program, publishers didn't know how this was going to work. Stores didn't know how this was going to work. And essentially at that time, they did offer stores discounts and programs could be opt-in or opt-out. Now, in an ideal world, it would be opt-in. But those opt-in programs didn't work for publishers. What publishers are really doing is they're willing to give an additional discount because they believe that these programs are going to bring them additional volume, and therefore they can offer a discount. That didn't work for these inclusive access programs, and so publishers have phased out that offering. And at this point, one of the biggest things with this program is obviously providing a discount. And in order to get a discount, it has to be an opt-out program. They simply will not give us discounts unless it's opt-out. And that's the rationale for why these are. Our job is to make sure we're communicating that to all students and making it as easy as possible for students to opt out if this program is not right for them. These programs are all about trade-offs, but in order to get those kind of 1.1 million, $2 million discounts, we have to go the opt-out route.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it, and we hope to hear from y'all soon. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Now, moving forward, I just want to do kind of a time check, especially because we have 4 other special presentations. I've just been made aware that one person with the AAC Fall Intern Project does have a time, like, they have to leave at 8, was it?
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, that's okay, but they can present without, they can present without, that's okay, but if it's possible for, I think I need to motion.
Oh, well, can you present, because I don't want to keep my director long. She's already been there since the start, and I don't think she's gonna take too long. So is it still possible to present without the person, or do you prefer? Okay.
Okay. So then we'll move to digital bureau card presentation.
Yeah, so my director, Sarah Cron, is in the Zoom. And the presentation is linked in the
Yeah, in the agenda.
In the agenda.
All right. Megan, can you promote Sarah? And then we'll get started. Thank you. Hello, and feel free to start whenever you're ready. If possible, I think it'd be best to share screen on your end, Sarah. I have it pulled up on my laptop. I don't know if everybody has access to do that right now so that they can see the presentation as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, everyone. Wait, I just need to go back. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. I'm the Director of Brew and Convenience under the Gen Rep 3 office, and I'm just here to present a little bit about this project I've been working on. So it is the digital Bruin card. And you might be thinking, what is a digital Bruin card? And it's very similar to, different cards you might have already in your phone wallet, right? So like a credit card or even your tap card, which you can use for the buses now, that also can be added to your Apple Wallet. So something similar to that. And they would look very similar to the regular Bruin card. It would just have the ability to add to your Apple Wallet. We could add things that could make it a little better. Like you could see the amount of meal swipes you have left for that quarter. You could see how much money is in your card, for example, for laundry or something like that. But yeah, and sorry. Oops. The benefits of a digital Bruin card. So most UCLA students have lost or damaged their Bruin card at least once throughout their years here. Even if it's like a scratch on the barcode, sometimes that doesn't let you into the dining halls for like a tap. You would have to physically swipe it. That can cause issues. And also the process of obtaining a new Bruin card can be a very long process. I don't know if people in the room or in the Zoom have ever experienced that, but sometimes it takes a long time. There could be scheduling conflicts. Usually the line to the Bruin card office is out the door, so it could take multiple hours. You might miss classes, also like missing work to do this. So the digital Bruin card would also eliminate the chances of you losing your Bruin card, forgetting to bring it places because you mostly have your phone on you. And it's not something most of us tend to forget or lose like in the same way that we do with their Bruin cards. And in turn, this also helps you access food and buildings on campus. And it would eliminate the $25 student fee for getting a new Bruin card, which can be quite a lot for a piece of plastic.
Okay, so these are some common questions that we've gotten throughout some surveys that we've sent out to the general UCLA student body. A common question we got is what happens if your phone dies, right? Now you're kind of stuck in the same spot of losing your Bruin card. And you'll still have access to temp cards and your physical Bruin card if you choose. So those are still options for people who don't want to do the digital Bruin card or who just like to have both. Um, and will this be available for non-Apple iPhones? Hopefully, yes, because there's things like Google Wallet and other platforms that we could use. And another common question that we got is how would this work for older buildings? For example, Reber Hall, Hedrick Hall, kind of the older buildings on campus, because those you have to physically put your card in and out. And they're not tapped. So for that, UCLA is already in the process of changing the locks in a lot of the older buildings. So this would just speed up that process. So yeah, it would consider changing a lot of locks, but I think it's something that they're already looking into. So it'd only just speed up the process. And here are some quotes that we got from people that we surveyed. I'm not sure how many of you guys can read this, but one that stands out to me is there are many outdated aspects of the Bruin card, like the websites that allow you to check your balance. This could be solved with the digital Bruin card. If any of you guys have experienced like trying to add money into your Bruin card for laundry or things like that, you know how outdated those websites could be. So that would also clear up some of that. Somebody also said it would be great to implement this year as it reflects the rapidly growing pace of tech and is more sustainable than producing plastic cards that get lost and damaged anyway. But yeah, we have a ton of people who are in support of this. In fact, 98.9% of the people we surveyed loved the idea. 95% actually already use the Apple Wallet, and 97% said that they would use the digital Bruin card more than they would use their physical one. So I'm still in the works of, talking to the Bruin card office and figuring this whole process out. But yeah, I just wanted to present a little more about what I'm working on and what this project kind of envisions. But yeah, I think that is the end of my presentation. Is it okay if I stop sharing?
Yeah, you're all good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Yeah, Sarah's been doing a wonderful amount of work for our office since she's joined it in the summer. And I'm very happy that, we've been able to start advocating a bit more for the digital Bruin card. We started meeting with the Bruin card I met with the Bruin card office way back in July. Their main concern was student input as well as student relevance, and that was why we set out to make two surveys. The first one was the internal USAC survey, which thank you all to those who filled out, both in your respective offices as well as council members. Then we released the second survey, which we released to the general public. And Sarah, I believe we had around like 100 or so responses.
Yeah.
So we've been able to kind of get it out there a bit more using our platforms. Just more than anything, getting these preliminary results as a means of, having more to talk about with the Bruin card office and saying this is something that students want. This is something that frankly students need. If there is a big need for it, we can advocate for it. So again, thank you so much, Sarah. And is there any questions that myself and Sarah could answer from council members regarding anything with digital Bruin card, et cetera?
No, I mean, just thank you for the presentation because it really does reflect like the work. And I think the data, especially on the responses, is really important. Like I know I've lost my Bruin card, I think at least twice by now. So a digital Bruin card would be very helpful. I guess one little question I have is just that this would definitely be a project that would take I think quite a bit of time. So is there kind of like that long term, like kind of vision for being able to carry this project through for maybe the next year as well?
Yeah, well, we're very fortunate. Sarah's a sophomore and Sarah's very much committed to the project. This may go out for those. So I myself am a senior, so unfortunately I will not be here. But Sarah is more than willing and more than capable to continue on this project, whether it is on the general representative office or somewhere else. Yeah.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Yeah, just wanted to hop in and invite you all to meet with the ASUCLA facilities team on this project. The ASUCLA spaces, so Kirkhoff, your office access, that is completely separate from like what you swipe at Bariber and the Hill, whatever, and we have no plans of changing those as of now. So if that's something that we're looking to do, definitely something that we want to include them in on early, so we can get that as a part of it as well, so we can get everything transferred over.
Yeah, thank you so much. We will definitely begin those conversations as well. More than anything, this is just very exploratory. It was something that I ran on very early on, and I vowed to keep my campaign promises. And this was one of the ways that we can do that, at least getting the research, getting that information, which is always a preliminary step for any further work that goes on. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns, etc., that myself or Sarah could answer?
Okay, well, great work. Go for it. Yeah, you're good.
This is really cool. I was just like wondering, I know you guys said that you guys have that with the Bruin card office and like done surveys and stuff. What does kind of like the process from there look like? Like who else are you guys meeting with, and then how are you guys like designing it?
Yeah, so essentially what we're working on right now is first it was these results. We hope to meet with the burn card office again. We're probably going to meet with hospitality services within the next month or so, just to discuss, what are their projects for modernizing the locks within the hill and within housing itself. Now that we know we're going to be looping in ASUCLA as well, that would probably be our next step. Again, it's a long-term project, but mainly now that we have kind of a basis of research, we kind of can use that as a tool for advocating for it and advocating for the need of the digital Burn card on behalf of the student body. So that's how, our next steps are just looking like.
Okay. Yeah, Jen.
Hey, I really like the idea. I think this is like a project that genuinely would improve the quality of life for people. And one thing to consider is, and I think a huge issue is like, especially for my office, a lot of people have trouble with their Bruin cards getting into our SWC office. Like a lot of I don't know what you call it, but the key lock on our Kirkhoff office doors are pretty old and can be really janky is the word that I have. They just don't work super well. So, something to consider to talk to ASUCLA about too, of like, they would probably have to replace all of those if we were trying to transition into digital Bruin cards. I don't know, some kind of tap thing on the door would be cool. I'm sure that's a problem or a consideration you already have for housing, so.
Yeah, so right now the recent housing projects have adapted a tap system instead. Fun fact, if you put your iPhone or your NFC enabled phone, not just the iPhones, on there, it will automatically pull up your wallet app. So the technology is there. It's already there. It's just a matter of adaptation as well as, the implementation of that, at least for where that technology is already put. So yeah, that's definitely something to keep in consideration. But if there aren't any other questions, again, I just want to genuinely appreciate Sarah for her work, for her effort, and for presenting today to you all. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, have a good night, Sarah. Okay, moving forward, we have California school year 2024-25 draft budget, the EVP office.
We have members of our state team here to present. Is there like a mic or something? Okay, awesome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Francis. We are with the state team. I am the co-state director for the Office of the EVP, and I'm joined with my fellow staff members.
Hi, I'm Aya. I'm the other co-state director of EVP.
Hello, my name is Ryan Rivera and I'm a first year staffer.
Hi, my name is Emily and I'm a third year staffer.
And if you guys would like, we have the presentation slides in the agenda, if you guys want to pull it up for them, but we're here today to present the governor's budget proposal and our analysis on it. In a budget shortfall year, the proposed state budget comes out to $292 billion, which is a 6% reduction from the 2023-2024 state budget. The Legislative Analyst's Office calls it plausible but optimistic. The governor projects a $38 billion shortfall, while the LAO projected a $68 billion shortfall. Now, the governor proposes to close the budget gap through the use of reserves, delays or deferrals of spending authorized in early years, and spending cuts. Now, in terms of the economic outlook on the UC system, the governor's budget plan defers the UC's base budget increase of 5%, which is $228 million, along with the planned investment of $31 million to offset revenue reductions. The governor expects the UC to use interim financing structures or other internal borrowing to maintain spending at the level expected if the UC had been provided the base budget increase of 5%. Now, despite not providing the funding necessary for the UC to continue to work to meet compact goals, the governor reassures the UC that they can be expected to be reimbursed by the state. Now, shifting gears to the Cal Grant Equity Framework, as we all know, the budget proposal failed to include funding for the Cal Grant Equity Framework, which was promised by the governor and the legislature in the past. A couple things you should know about the Cal Grant Equity Framework is that it expands eligibility to 150,000 Californians who were previously excluded from the program, and it especially impacts marginalized communities, making the Cal Grant available to an estimated additional 95,000 Latinx students, 18,000 Asian and Pacific Islander students, 11,000 Black students, 3,000 California Dream Act students, and 91,000 female students. The California Student Aid Commission also estimates that over 311,000 community college students would qualify for a Cal Grant under this framework. Essentially, this framework streamlines Cal Grants in a way that is accessible for low-income and marginalized communities and families, and also reducing confusion by aligning eligibility with federal funding. Now, shifting gears to the fiscal impact of the Cal Grant Equity Framework, full funding would cost the state approximately $315 million. Going back to the budget reserves that we mentioned earlier, California has multiple reserves to pull from, which the governor is pulling from to account for the budget shortfall. We have the budget stabilization account, which is also known as the rainy day fund. We have the safety net reserve fund, which is also intended to be used to maintain benefits and services for essential services like CalWorks and Medi-Cal in the event of a economic downturn. We also have the public school system stabilization account for K through 12 schools and the special fund for economic uncertainties. So the governor proposes to use $18.8 billion in reserve funds from the budget stabilization account, the public school system stabilization account, and the safety net reserve to cover a portion of the projected budget shortfall. $12.2 billion from the budget stabilization account, $5.7 billion from the PSSSA, and all $900 million from the safety net reserve fund. This leaves $18.4 billion in reserves for fiscal year 2024-2025, and we will be tracking that as we expect the governor to potentially, and hopefully we can lobby the governor and the legislature to fully fund the Cal Grant Equity Framework with the use of reserves.
Thank you. And going off of what my co-director was saying, so when we look at the community college funding in the budget proposal this year, the CCs are one of the big three higher education institutions of California. They serve the biggest proportion of students of color and low-income students. And they prepare approximately 1.8 million students to transfer to four-year institutions or to obtain training and employment skills. So the CCs are somewhat unique in that they're mainly funded through Proposition 98, and other additional occasional state funding may be used for special projects for the CC. So essentially this year, what we're seeing is $722 million from the Prop 98 reserve will be taken to fund CCs with an additional 0.76% cost of living adjustment. which accounts for higher enrollment and inflation. Next slide. Okay, so the deficit is really being felt in the housing sector, and there have been a lot of cuts. Since 2019, California has invested about $5.2 billion from the general fund into affordable housing and home ownership programs. This year, they're going to cut 1.2 billion of that general fund in the investments in this sector. So that leaves a $4 billion budget. Next slide. So this is felt in several notable programs, and I've highlighted a few here. Yeah, thank you. So the multifamily housing program, its purpose is low interest, long-term deferment payment loans for new construction, rehabilitation, and preservation of permanent and transitional rental housing for lower income households. So this program is being cut from $250 million to $25 million. The foreclosure intervention housing program, somewhat self-explanatory, will be facing a $274.5 million reduction over the next 3 years. The infill infrastructure grant program will, which promotes infill housing development by providing financial assistance for capital improvement projects that are an integral part of or necessary to facilitate the development of affordable and mixed income housing, will be cut from $200 to $25 million. I've also highlighted here, like in case y'all don't know what infill housing is, it's the rededication of land in an urban environment, usually open space, to new construction. Infill also applies within an urban polity to construction on any undeveloped land that is not in the urban margins. So essentially it increases affordable housing supply and mixed housing supply, and that program has been severely cut. And finally, the California Student Housing Revolving Loan Fund Program. This is another program promised by the governor and the legislature that would be continually funded. This has a big impact on students because there's an increasing number of students that are experiencing homelessness due to a student housing crisis. The governor proposes pulling back $300 million that was previously intended to be appropriated for the program from the 2024 to 2025 year to the 2028 to 2029 fiscal year. So it will be reverting 194 million of the 200 million one-time general fund that was appropriated into the 2023 and 2024 year, which is the amount estimated to be net of the program's expected operational costs. So basically, just to keep the program running, that funding was revoked. Next slide. So the bottom line is the impact on students, and all of these budget cuts are being felt in the lack of affordable housing. There will be less accessible affordable housing, less opportunity to have government assistance with housing, and the lower the supply of housing on the market, such as with less new high capacity developments, the more that rents and housing prices will continue to rise.
Good evening. As you all know, the governor just released the budget for the CalFresh benefits for this year. Went from a comfortable $281 to now just $23 a month. Additionally, the governor is using a pilot program, which is essentially an experiment program where some individuals will be able to get $50 a month rather than the 23 base a month. However, this is simply just not enough. As you see in figure 1, it's kind of at the corner right there. California is actually ranked #1 in terms of food costs and grocery costs. The governor's justification for this is that he simply thinks the impacts of COVID are done and they're not apparent. However, you and I both know that these impacts are still apparent and they affect all of us in our daily lives, whether it's in school, work, personal life, and also mental health. On behalf of my colleagues and myself, we are asking you to support us in the increasing of the CalFresh benefits, as we believe no student should ever have to worry about whether they will be able to provide food on their plate. Additionally, we want to emphasize the importance of not only funding this budget, because it not only affects our fellow UC students, it also affects 5 million Californians and hundreds of thousands of students from the community colleges and the UCs.
With your help, we could proudly say that we increased the funding and also helped over 5 million people and students with your support. Thank you. Next slide.
Okay, so under that same umbrella, we have CalWORKs, and CalWORKs stands for the California Work Opportunity and Responsibility to Kids Program, and basically it provides cash assistance for families with low incomes, specifically families of color. So this year we saw that there was a modest 2.9 increase in CalWORKs grants, which would give an $87 million budget for the 2023-2024 year. Unfortunately, the governor failed to raise CalWORKs grants above deep poverty for all families. So deep poverty is 50% of the federal poverty line. In order to raise that for families, you basically provide them with assistance so they go above that deep poverty line. And then recently, policymakers raised the maximum grant above the deep poverty threshold for some families, but not for all, and specifically some of those families that were discriminated against, where families maybe that only had one active parent. So it was unfairly leaving children and families with less assistance to meet basic needs. We also saw there was a 0.8% grant increase and a number of cuts to CalWORK support services, which meant pulling back money from the general fund and ongoing cuts for the budget for family stabilization and also cuts for expanded subsidized employment. Next slide, please. And in terms of childcare, Governor maintained his commitment to add 200,000 new childcare slots by 2026 and 2027, but he did not add any slots this year. As he said, they weren't all filled. It also did not propose to extend the current state policy waiving family fees for childcare and development programs, but we did see a new fund to fund 146,000 slots and a one-time 1.4 billion fund for rate increases for providers reimbursed through the California Department of Social Services. Next slide, please. And kind of when we're thinking about CalWORKs and childcare, what might this impact look on students? I wanted to do a little bit more research to see how this applies to our UC community. And one of the recent articles or pieces of research I found was in 2019, where there's a profile of undergraduate parenting students from the UC Office of the President. And this research found that more than a quarter of all undergraduate college students are raising children, and about 44% are doing so without the support of a partner. And on the UC campuses, across all 9 of those campuses, we have 9.5% of undergraduate, 9% of those students are undergraduate parenting students. And among those 9.5%, we found that 61% reported having experienced food insecurity, 39% are members of underrepresented groups, and 65% rely on grants such as the Cal grants or scholarships in order to manage the cost of university. And I thought that this was just really important. At UCLA, we have about a little under 1% of the students being undergraduate parenting students, but all these students rely on programs like CalWORKs, Cal Grant, and Child Care for support while they continue to pursue a secondary education. So it's really important that we help to fight for their family's success and survival. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That conclude the presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions?
We do. But yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and sticking around. We know it's been a while since y'all first got here. I believe Janice wants to kick us off with questions and then, yeah.
I had a question about CalFresh, just because I personally get CalFresh benefits, like at like the full, you have the number on the presentation, like 281 or something. So I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding correctly. The maximum is now going to be $50.
Yes, under this program, it would be 50.
Let's just take a moment of silence. What?
So under the new pilot program, yeah, there's a new pilot program being introduced this year. Last year, it was actually reduced from 281 to $23. I could be wrong here. I think it is a need-based system, I guess. I don't know why they cut it down to that, but sorry. She can speak to that.
Yeah. As someone who also receives CalFresh money, I cannot emphasize this enough. This is a big reduction. Yeah, it's going from $280 to $23 to $50 is if you apply and provide documentation of something related to food insecurity, lack of income, working hours, pay stubs. But if you are a current receiver of CalFresh, you will not receive $50 unless you apply into that. The automatic reduction would be to $23 a month.
That is crazy.
It is very late.
$23 is like,
Nothing.
that's nothing.
nothing.
That's like one day of food. Maybe not even one meal. That is
Yeah.
bonkers. Do you guys have contact with the CalFresh Initiative Club on campus?
We don't, but we would appreciate, yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely let them know. I don't know if they do know, because I don't know if they have policy awareness like the way you guys do, but that's their whole deal, their whole shtick. They have posters on campus, like through ACCLA too, like, the little poster holders that have that 281 on there. And so they're gonna have to like update everything or communicate to their whole student body that they support. Their whole thing is that they help students apply for it, because it's a lengthy process and like complicated. I just got a letter in the mail saying like I did turn some form in, so they're gonna cancel my CalFresh. I'm like, oh my goodness, how many times are we gonna do this? Yeah, it's so frustrating. So that's horrible. Thank you for telling me, but also I'm so sad. Okay, that's all for me. You guys are EVP? Okay, I'll give the CalFresh Initiative contact to Eva and I'll tell her to pass it on to you guys.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
Yeah. I also want to say, as a proud CalFresh recipient as well, very, very sad. And would like to know, especially for me and people that are listening as well, if it's a way to get involved, maybe, I know Lobby Corp just closed recently.
No,
Or is it still-
it's still
open? Okay, so let's apply. Dennis, we could be in DC. Lobby.
Sacramento, yeah.
So, yeah.
Student lobby board is due in February, so
Oh,
the
okay.
application is still there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, push it to your offices, and especially if they are a CalFresh recipient and they're willing to give testimony about it, we will be prioritizing CalFresh recipients and Cal Grant recipients.
Great.
Yeah, so if anybody's on air and is a CalFresh recipient as well, definitely apply. I just did my first time lobbying, so it's not as scary as I thought it was gonna be, so definitely happy to help in that regard as well. But yeah, thank you so much for that information. I just want to open the floor again for questions from anybody.
Wait, yeah, as also another proud CalFresh recipient. So, like, you're telling me even the most needy of people is going to receive $23 a month in a card?
Well, technically, if you qualify for the pilot program,
Yes.
you will
Yeah,
receive
$50.
$50 a month.
That's like half a trip to Trader Joe's in a week. Like, let's be honest. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, we checked. When I saw $23, I legitimately asked, do they need per week? They do not.
Because I
It's a
thought,
month.
I'm gonna be so real, I thought y'all had a typo. I thought it was like 230 and I thought you forgot a zero, because I was like, what do you mean you go from $280 to $23? Yeah, and I just wanted to echo the sentiments of my peers of like, how can we, I know we're like slightly powerful positions. I mean, we're in the council for the #1 public university, but besides that, like, what else could we do?
Well, we got a lot of lobbying opportunities coming up, especially in March. We're gonna be in Sacramento for Student Lobby Day. If you guys are interested, I would definitely sign up for Student Lobby for share your testimonials. This is definitely something that not only affects students, it affects students or people that come from marginalized backgrounds, low income backgrounds. So we're definitely gonna keep track of that for sure. Yeah.
I would also like to say one more thing. I mean, it's just, we should be holding the governor accountable and the people who did it, because I mean, when COVID hit, I mean, none of us knew what was happening. Everyone was panicking. And there they were, right to our aid and helping us as they should. And then once when, the cameras go down, everything starts to settle, we get hit with $23 a month. So definitely we need to hold them accountable. As Francis said, we could definitely get some lobbying going. We could communicate with clubs on campus. And yeah, it'll be really fun, and just to like show them that, we are the people, we have a voice, and we should hold these people accountable. Because in fact, like, they're privileged, they never had to deal with the things that we all had to deal with in this room. So thank you guys.
Any more questions?
No, thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll be moving forward with CNP Advisory Committee updates. Hey, welcome back. Oh my God.
Yeah, we've shared the slides, if you could. Right, I'll start. Hello, everyone. My name is Siddharth. This is Brandon. I'm the chair of SFAC. He's the vice chair. We're here to market SFAC and specifically the two open undergrad positions that we have.
One person will be on the agenda next week.
Oh, that's nice. One more would be nice. So, yeah. So, firstly, the purpose of the presentation is to prove that it's a very significant community to be a part of. So the first slide, I'm just giving some calculations. UCLA has 45 students. All of them are paying more than $1,000 in what is called a student service fee. And if we add the total, it's around a $50 million fund, which is utilized for activities which are parallel and complementary to what we call instructional activities. That is activities beyond the lectures. For example, $8 million from this fund goes to Ash Center. About $2 or $3 million goes to Career Center, student legal services. Everything throughout campus is affected by it. So what this committee does is we are legally mandated to advise the chancellor about the dispersal of the funds, which is this student service fee fund. Next slide, please. So just to give a breakdown of the expenditure and to highlight the significance of the work we do, around 80% of the funds are utilized in compensation. That is the salaries and benefits of different staffs on campus. And so the committee gets funding requests from the different units, which is the economic term for the different bodies that exist on campus. And we analyze them, we analyze the financial trend reports, we give out questionnaires, we prepare the questionnaires every year based on new priorities. This year, environmental sustainability, financial sustainability were some of the priorities which we had decided. And the units then show us how they are working towards those. And then that combined with their financial information, we learn to analyze that for the first 3 months, and we make decisions from the analysis about how this money should be used. And then we send a recommendation to the chancellor. And historically speaking, the chancellor usually agrees with more than 90% of the recommendations. Next slide, please. So next, Brandon would like to talk about something.
All right, so I'll cover a bit of the work we do every year, but more specifically what we've done this year. So as Siddharth said, we've developed a framework for analyzing funding requests. As mentioned, one of those priorities is environmental sustainability. We have a lot of leverage here in which we can send out the questionnaires and they're required to reply to us, so we can incentivize units pursue our desired principles. So environmental sustainability is one. Financial sustainability and also support for non-traditional students, transfer students, all the support. We also talked to the chancellor and other officials on campus to increase stipends for communities on campus, because ideally we want to recruit motivated and bright talent, and we can't do that if we can't compete with other employment opportunities. So we also, because we have fortunately enough time and enough people this year, we can audit other fees this year. We've chosen to go with the instructional enhancement initiative fee, which is essentially like a technology fee adjacent type thing. We specifically this year, we decided to place a great emphasis on transparency and accountability. We've done this internally by a comprehensive website upgrade that you should see within the coming week, and also by in-person events such as our tabling event next week on Maroon Walk next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Feel free to come by and ask questions if you have any, by the way. Across campus, because one of the principles we hope to incentivize in our year review is transparency, impact evaluation, and data collection. UC-wide in our representation at the UC-wide Council on Student Fees, where we last quarter we went through a review of all the UC SFAC websites to check to see if minutes had been posted, which, and according to our governing documents, they are supposed to be posted. So it's good for accountability measure. And then, as I said, we represent UCLA at CSN. Next slide, please. So what students gain from this? Now, I guess we just have one undergraduate representative position, assuming that the nominated candidate goes through. So please feel free to apply. It's very important moving into this time of year that we have quorum, because this is basically the most intense part of the year in terms of the importance of the work we do. So what you get is you get reward finance skills. I can attest to this, that it's very valuable to have these skills in a resume. I've gotten like interviews and asked about this position quite a lot, and this is my only position in finance. I heavily recommend it. It's really good and really valuable to have these skills on the resume. We fortunately have a very fast work process compared to a lot of other student bodies, where basically our entire process begins and ends in the same academic year. We end the year by suggesting our recommendations to the chancellor. So that means our principles that we hope to sort of embody throughout the year are immediately implemented in the funding requests, even though the funding requests are for the 2 or 3 years in advance. So it's a very fast turnaround, very fulfilling. You get deep influence throughout the UCLA community. We've had discussions with pretty much like leadership at every corner of the school. We've talked to the art and architecture people, the music school people, brewing core, Ash Center. We have basically connections everywhere, and it's really important that we actively communicate with them to make sure we're in touch with their needs and what they expect from SSF in the coming years. We learn to make tough decisions. Obviously, we're a finite committee. We have finite people and time and money to give out, so we have to learn a lot about cost benefit analysis and prioritizing certain principles like we did this year. It can be a tricky process sometimes, especially managing when, we may have not people to meet for, so we can't dedicate everyone to investigate multiple different things. We have to manage our time and resources, which is a skill we develop all the time. And I should mention that whenever we go to CSF, there's a lot of traveling and networking opportunities. Last quarter, it was in UCSC. This quarter, it's in UCSB. I think it'll be in UCR next quarter. But there's a lot of really great people there who are representatives from their respective committees, and travel expenses are covered by the SRAC, so don't worry about that, and that's a barrier to entry. We highly encourage you to apply if you're interested in public finance and public administration. But yeah, next.
And yeah, the pay is about $1,000. It's exactly $1,000 per quarter, and it could increase next year. The workload is about or less than 20 hours per quarter, so that turns out to be $50 per hour, so it's a good number. And please feel free to apply. These are the QR codes. You have the slides also. That's our Instagram. It's a very new page. We have a very active outreach committee. We're taking several initiatives this year. Everyone is very enthusiastic. All we need is 2 more undergrads, and we would welcome you with very open arms. And this Friday, if most of our important tasks that begins week 4 of this quarter, everything up till now, since week 1 of fall was just learning about stuff. If you come within the next week or so, I'll get you up to speed with everything. And starting week 4 is all where all the exciting things begin. And this Friday, we have an in-person meeting in Ash Center, where the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs will also be there, and we have a lot of free food. So please do apply. Thank you.
Okay. I will say in the meantime, until we get another appointment, because we'll have the one come through, can you send me the meeting info, and then I could attend and substitute?
Okay, yeah.
Because I know y'all have things that you need to work on, so we'll make it work. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for coming and staying throughout this time. I definitely know it's been a while. But yeah, I really do appreciate the work that y'all been doing and been learning about and hearing about the process. So I really do appreciate you. Okay.
I wanted to ask a question.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're so good. I wanted to ask you guys, in terms of like when you're advising the chancellor about the money, has at all a resource center for the Latinx community come up? I know that that was one of the chancellor's priorities in what he listed about the university becoming a Hispanic serving institution by 2025. And the HSI initiative on campus did advise him directly that that's one of the main resources that should be provided. So I just wanted to ask out of curiosity if that has come up in any sort of matter with you all and within your work.
So this year, the reviews have just come in, the unit review, so we have to start the analysis. Till now, we haven't reached that phase yet, but if we reach that phase, then I could come and report to USAC. But I'll keep a lookout for that.
I will say that, oftentimes, well, a lot of the funding we get goes to, centers like the LGBTQ Campus Resource Center and Bruin Court. So all of these types of centers typically do request funding, and most of the time their requests are fulfilled in their entirety. So I would look forward to an update on that when the requests are coming in.
Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Well, cool. Thank you so much for your time again, and we will see you all next time. Alrighty. Last but not least, we have AAC Fall 2023 Intern Projects.
I also.
Dang. Megan, do you mind being the slide person for this last presentation?
No, I don't mind. Just give me a second. My Chrome is a little
You said no, I knew why. Just quit.
Okay, hi everyone. So we are the fall interns for AAC. I'm Elisha and
I'm Justin.
yeah, and our other two were Erica and Beth. They weren't able to be here. But yeah. Next one. Okay. So our project is really made based on how we can increase awareness to the Career Center as one of the things is accessibility. Yeah, okay. So the reason that this is important is that a lot of sort of like internships and jobs post-grad or even during like your time here in UCLA would be able to be found about the Career Center, but the issue is that not a lot of people know about it, and I feel like there's not a lot of people utilizing it like research.
This is just a little description of what the Career Center is. So this is also directly off the Career Center's website. So the Career Center offers services to help you explore career pathways, create competitive resumes, develop interviewing and networking skills, find and apply for internships and jobs, consider graduate school, and more. We also offer opportunities to connect with employers, such as career fairs, networking events, information sessions, on-campus interviewing, as well as job and internship listings. Next slide, please. And then here's just a little summary of what we're going to be talking about. First, I'll be going over the week 0 event the community that the Career Center holds. Then we'll be discussing the website, the advising sessions, and finally the Career Center Instagram. Slide, please. All right, so first we're going to be talking about the week 0 event that the community center holds every year. So it's as pictured in the slide. It's held at the Career Center building, which a lot of people, at least that I've talked to as a first year, didn't really know where it was, didn't know much about the Career Center in general. And when people did get there, they realized that the event was completely swamped, lying all the way down the stairs, just really hard to find your way around. There were a bunch of papers lying around, going for relating to different careers, different things that people wanted to do, but it was really just hard to find everything. And overall, it wasn't a great representation of what the Career Center offers because everything was just very sort of discombobulated. And also, a lot of first years, especially, who this event really should be targeted to, as well as third year transfers, didn't really know about this event. There was no email communication leading up to it. It was unclear what services would be provided at the event. And no one really knew what they were getting at it. So there wasn't like a need to go. People sort of easily set out to go for this kind of stuff. Next slide. And so here are some potential. So I think a great start would be offering a virtual option because the in-person career center just gets so swamped. It's hard to find everything there. And also we could move the event to a different place, such as the Academy Grand Ballroom. I think would be a good option just to disperse the crowds a little bit more, make it easier to find everything. And also this would create an opportunity to make more signage for the different career opportunities that are present at the fair. And you would also be able to tailor this event to different areas of profession, be it pre-med, pre-law, anything else that people want to target, just sort of tailor it to what people want to do instead of just being so general. And then as far as fixing the communication, obviously, I think emails would be a great start just to raise awareness about what the Career Center is going to offer and why this event is so important to go to. And also promote the social media, which we'll talk about later. And then just, yeah, incentivize students to come to the event, especially incoming students, incoming first year and transfers. And possibly even have different speakers from the different careers that I mentioned before do some sort of presentation or panel in the lead up to the event, just to hit on those at different fields that I was discussing. Next slide.
Okay, yeah, so the next part is going to be about the website navigation. So some of the shortcuts that we found for the website is that for specifically like the internship, like when you originally go onto the website, you click on, I think if you go to the next slide, like real quick, just to let me come back to it. Yeah, so if you originally go to like the career website, this is for one of the other things, but the general page right there, like the first one in the left corner, it will like kind of gives you like an outline of kind of what, like when you click on it, it'll take you to like different sections, and then once you go to the different section, it's kind of hard to like really navigate exactly what you're looking for. Can you go back to the other slide? Sorry. Okay, yeah, so the internship page is all the way at the bottom, which is kind of difficult to like find. And then they also have a YouTube link onto their website, but there's no publication about exactly what is on the YouTube channel. And then when we were doing our research about it, the YouTube channel does give information about how to prep for interviews, how to prep your resume, and it just like more information, kind of gives you more of a visual form of what's on their website, but it's not really advertised on their website, or it's not really linked to certain things. And then they also have, when we would visit the career center, they have a career guide that kind of like basically everything on their website, like or not everything, but like resume templates, and other templates to use like when applying for an internship or a job are on there. But when you're looking for it on the website, finding those specific templates or everything like that is pretty difficult. So some of the solutions that we were trying to look for the website specifically was creating a video on how to navigate it, just because I feel like it'll help students really find everything that they're looking for, and also again spread more awareness about the YouTube channel, just because like I feel like it's not really used. But yeah, next slide. Okay, next one. Okay, so then the other issue that we kind of found was the advising opportunity. So there's advising for pre-law, pre-health, pre-med, and the most of the schedules, if you want to book for like an appointment, it's really difficult to get an appointment just because most of them fill up 2 weeks in advance. And then for specifically pre-health, they only are available once a week on Fridays for an hour. So it's not really useful for the faculty students that are pre-health or pre-med. So our solutions was having the Career Center make more appointments available, as well as expanding their hours for both in-person and drop-in. Yeah.
Next slide. So finally, we're going to talk about changing the Instagram for the Career Center. Now, the Instagram itself is actually pretty informative as it stands, but there are a lot of quality of life changes that we think are necessary. First of all, it's that since there's so much information on there, it's kind of hard to navigate and find what you're looking for. There will be posts where it's like you get an image on the first, like on the first picture, right? But you don't know to scroll to the second image because that has like a completely separate event that it's advertising. And so just basically making everything invisible, I think is very important. Also, the posts are just look extremely samey. Like that they use the same font and like background and stuff. And so it makes them kind of hard to distinguish from each other. And so the Career Center Instagram also has very little engagement. So it's hard for this to even pop up in your feed if you're not directly checking for it. And also the highlights at the top of the page that are just not updated. They're like a year old. So they could use some change. And then some solutions for the shortcomings. We think that the theme that the Career Center Instagram has going is good, but we just think that it could be a bit more varied so that people can more easily distinguish specific types of posts from one another. The irrelevant information, like old events and like those old highlights, should be archived so they don't jumble up the important stuff. We think that Instagram stories could be much better utilized to improve engagement and to better advertise those important events. And we think that also that would be an avenue for some experiments with content, such as like videos or something, just to make it a little more lively and promote more engagement. And then finally, we just want to have the highlights updated so they're updated consistently so they stay relevant. Next slide, please. Thank you for listening. And do you have any questions?
Thank you so much. Oh my God, no, real round of applause, actually. Awesome. I think just seeing that presentation, I only know about the Career Center because one of my friends works in the Career Center. Like recently, like you said on the Instagram, like I just saw that they got like a headshot like photo thing that like will take your headshots for you. Like a little, yeah. And I was like, oh wow, okay. It's like maybe I'll go to the Career Center. But like you said, I don't even know where it is. Like you showed that picture, and I was like, where is that? So even thinking about that's the little things that even if I don't know where it is, I like the average student, I wouldn't know what to do with that. So it always goes back to like I feel like there's so many resources on UCLA, but how do we actually access it and keep it kind of there? But yeah, I definitely also appreciate y'all talking about the advising. I hear a lot of feedback, especially being like pre-health pre-med myself. And I find that very interesting to only have like one day for pre-health advising, especially given like I think UCLA produces the most amount of med school applicants per year, pretty consistently. So very interesting to see that. I was just wondering if y'all or someone on the AAC team is going to the Career Center or has gone to the Career Center to give some of this feedback and setting up a meeting with them. No,
Well, we haven't specifically done it yet, but I think I guess this presentation will sort of help us like give some, I guess like just guide us in the feedback that we're going to give to them.
No, yeah, we could practice. I like it. Okay, so John.
Exactly. And I think did you guys also have a chance to tour the Career Center as well? They did like tour as part of one of their weekly intern meetings, and we are working with the Career Center on a separate pre-law, like just kind of programming series. And so through our contacts there, we were to start implementation. And this presentation was also kind of intended to be the first step so that if anybody here, including with like UCLA support staff, has any feedback, any ideas about the feasibility of some of these proposals, or kind of just any recommendations, then that would be super helpful as well. So now is kind of the time that we're starting to implement that they worked really hard on to point out.
Yeah, then I'll just say if you need any connections and reaching out to them, I definitely have my friend that works in the center itself and then could also reach out on our behalf. So yeah, just let me know.
Hi, great work. I had a suggestion that maybe you could pass along to them. I think one issue with UCLA is that like we have so much money, we have so many resources, but it's really overwhelming to have to like advocate for yourself. So I wonder if there'd be a way where instead of like office hours where like I have to go like and seek them out, maybe they could reach out to students. Like I know we're a public school, so this feels like less feasible because I'm assuming like the more private schools have, like, they regularly meet with their students, like there's somebody out there like taking care of you, you know, who like regularly wants to meet with you. And I really didn't even have that experience until like I was on student government and like SGS wants to check in with me. Otherwise, there's no like, yeah, there's no like I'm a cog sci major, like the psych department is not like reaching out and being like, hey girl, are you gonna graduate on time? Like no one's doing that for me. So, and it kind of feels like the career center should maybe be reaching out and being like, hey girl, do you have something lined up for after graduation? Or like, do you need help doing that? Like that would be really nice of them. You know, that would make me feel really appreciated and seen and supported and, you know, because instead I have nothing going for me yet. So pass that along, you know, more outreach, you know, so that students don't have to seek it and to help out themselves. Like, I wish they were seeking us out. Yeah.
I think that's it from everybody, but like I said again, amazing job. It takes courage to come out here, I'm not gonna lie. So thank you for also, yes. And thank you for also waiting. I definitely know it's been a while, but I do appreciate your time and I'm wishing you the best of luck for the rest of week 3 and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Okay. I motion that we speed through the rest of these reports, please, because I got.
If
Okay.
it's written, it's written.
So we're gonna go ahead and get started with reports. Before I go into like what I've done for the past week, I do want to say, attendance wise, this meeting was we were on the fence. I did get some like emergency texts like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it because of this and this. However, for other folks, like make sure at least you're sending a proxy so you get the information. That is good practice since day one. I can't emphasize that enough because I don't know how many people are rewatching the USAC live recordings. If you don't have a proxy, that's all I gotta say. Because I look at views, I look at the views. There's not many. So. These are viewers. So yeah, and I also do want to say, last week it was mentioned that we should have the financial funding up to date, and then to get here today and not have it up to date, it's very like, who's listening? So if you are attending on Zoom, I do require your full attention while you're on Zoom. That's why we changed in the first place to in-person meetings. Because we noticed last year that when things would be said, there would be no follow through because people weren't listening on Zoom. Okay? So not saying that's what happened, it could be an honest mistake, but to go from last week and having them say like, hey, make sure your funding is up to date on this so that council can review it before Tuesday, and then to come here and it wasn't updated. I didn't like what I saw. Okay? All right, going forward with what I did this past week, like I mentioned, we are having our final candidates for the Dean of Students position. So we are interviewing them this week. I set up monthly meetings with NCPD Chief Thomas, and we are discussing the police accountability body and basically why it is not up and running at UCLA as of late. So I will provide more details on that once he reaches back out to me. He's on his due diligence and making sure we get that set up. So I will have feedback for that soon. Take up meeting with covered. I've had a meeting with the Association of the Big Ten students as we prepare for this Ohio trip this upcoming Thursday through Sunday. Besides that, we've just been having some more meetings about the time, place, and manner policies that have been updated. I believe all undergraduate students received an email about that, so do review it as we all plan various events on this campus. I was able to attend the ASUCLA Bruin Reflection Space Ribbon Cutting Celebration. President Nora also gave my remarks on my behalf, but it was a really amazing event to see a space by students and for students always. Besides that, we're just trying to fill up these appointments. I believe we will have an election board chair by next week, so I'm very excited about that. Besides that, yeah, just attended some more events that are on the rest of my reports, and with that, I will pass it to our internal vice president, Megan.
Hi. The Appointments Review Committee conducted one interview. We have 3 scheduled for the Facilities Commissioner position. So if you have any specific questions you'd like to ask, please let us know. Council members, please check the workflow in case you've been assigned any appointments. We have gotten one application for the Elections Board Chair, but please encourage others to apply as well. Please encourage others to, or nominate others for the True Bruin Raise Awards. If you can nominate a Bruin who has exemplified the True Bruin values to help another Bruin in crisis. I believe nominations were extended to this weekend. So you can find the link in my written report. I also attended the Bruin Reflection Space ribbon cutting ceremony last week with Naomi. The off-campus housing fair is next Wednesday. I made a mistake in my last report, but is the 31st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So please advertise that as well. I believe student media is supposed to be in charge of advertising that, but haven't seen anything yet, but we'll see. Reminders that there is another meet and greet on February 2nd. And then my committee is planning one for the 21st of February. There's some exec updates in my written report, and then a bunch of committee updates. Please follow on Instagram at USAC Funds, I believe. It is a partnership between my Equity, Transparency, and Accessibility Committee and my Empowering Student Engagement Committee. There's just going to be a bunch of info about like USAC funds. I'm sure Sherry can talk about that if she'd like to. The rest of the written reports are just updates on programming, but I will pass it along.
Thank you. And Sherry? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Eva's not here today because she's flying to San Francisco for the UC Regents meeting. She wrote a few of the important topics that the Regents are discussing in her officer report, but like some of the main ones include reviewing the governor's January budget proposal, discussing opportunity for all, discussing basic needs, and discussing a report created by an advisory work group on students with disabilities. This past week, she's also been finalizing our ballot drop-off brief that's being sent to LA County. And then yesterday, she met with Michael Beck, who I believe is one of the vice chancellors, to discuss UCPD presence on campus, Sepulveda Transit Corridor, and a time, place, manner policy. And then in regards to like our office as a whole, there's like specific updates in her written report, but I know there was like interest regarding like lobbying and stuff, so I'm gonna bump some of the cool like lobbying things that EVP is doing. So like our state team said, student lobby corps signups are like out right now, and the priority deadline is February 12th. So if you're interested in that, definitely sign up. Basically, you get to attend legislative meetings, travel with EVP to lobby events in Sacramento and DC, and also like LA City Hall, and participate in like UCSA and general conferences. So that's like really cool. So like our state team right now is planning student lobby conference, which is in Sacramento. And also another bump is the Latina Lobby Day is on February 26th, and I'm pretty sure those signups are still open, but there's like very little spots left. So if you're like interested, Eva says sign up ASAP. And then similarly, our federal team is prepping for Hill Day, which is our lobby day in DC. Lastly, Eva wanted me to mention that last Friday, she sent everyone an email about the Sepulveda Transit Corridor resolution, and she intends to bring that to council next week. She's asking that everyone begin reviewing the resolution, which was attached to the email that she sent, and she's also looking for one more co-sponsor. But yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Gabby?
Hi, it's all written.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Yeah, hello. Let's get up a bit. I don't have a whole lot of updates, but yeah, my office has been doing work as always. I'm attending the Students of Color Conference. Again, shout out to EVP. So I'm very excited to talk about issues impacting all of us on campus and kind of just building solidarity amongst each other. KN95s are very popular. I will say that. Those have been running out, so take that as you will. I'd say the Gen Rep office is going to continue providing those. Available on the third floor of Kirkhoff next to elevator. Shout out SWC for giving us one of their little cabinet things to use. And yeah, that's all the updates I'll verbalize today. The rest are in the doc.
Thank you, appreciate it. John? Can you pass the mic?
Yeah, it's all mostly written. A few like kind of more significant updates is that we're having our first more official social this Saturday. We're going to the beach. We're hanging out after, so I'm excited for that. We also accepted an intern class of 7 people this quarter, and it seemed like firing really did increase the number of applications. Who would have thought? So really excited for that. Oh, my mistake. But the last thing that I'm really more excited about is for academic senate, and the incomplete notation. I think we're actually able to get our proposal on the agenda for the next meeting, and like getting it on the agenda is the hardest part, just because the academic senate, obviously we don't want to waste their time. We want to make sure we're giving them the most complete proposal possible. And given the weight of like the decision they make, they do require a lot of data, kind of confirmation from other campus entities that a certain policy change is even possible, and things like that have to come together for the proposal. So I'm really excited about that because I also feel like it's kind of a no-brainer policy change, and once it happens, it'll benefit a lot of people. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Mason.
Hello, everything's on the document. Last week we had the Trixie Mattel event, which was a huge success. It went really well. We had over 1,100 students. Like we had like way over that in like ticket sales, and then we had 1,100 students that were actually able to sit down and watch. So that was really fun. And our next event is going to be Afrofest, which is next Saturday, February 3rd. And that is in collaboration with the Nigerian Student Association. And then we are working with Tyra right now and the African Student Union to work on collaborations for hopefully week 7. And yeah, we're working on like some sponsorship stuff right now. And yeah, I'm doing interviews for new PR and conference staff. And that's it.
Thank you. Okay, and then Alicia has, oh, she came. Hello.
Hi. Okay, so last week we had a successful event, a documentary screening on alternatives to policing. And then for the next couple of weeks, you have a bunch of different events. We have houselessness days of service next week, and essentially it's 3 days of trying to engage students in discussions about housing insecurity in LA. And we will have a day of advocacy where they learn about the issue, and a day of direct service where they go out into the community. So we are partnering a bunch of different student organizations, Bridge Shelter, GCGP, EPP, Hunger Project, and many more. And this is going to be taking place 31st January to 2nd February. So strongly encourage everyone to come out to learn about the different issues surrounding housing insecurity, and also to go out to the community to distribute care packages and so on and so forth. So all the RSVP links are on my officer report. Another one is nonprofit networking night. I will talk more about that next week, but it's going well. We're planning it together with Volunteer Center. We also launched our CSE transportation and finance cheat sheets for any student service organization to refer to when they're trying to figure out, what the different funding bodies are available, and to see, the different deadlines and the eligibility. So hopefully that helps different student organizations figure out, what best meets their needs, because we know how complicated finance is at UCLA. So that's pretty much it for me. Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sarah? Oh, wait, she dropped. My bad. Damn. Okay, Janice?
Hi, everyone. I have quite a bit of announcements today, so bear with me. So this Thursday on the 25th is our Heart to Heart, a conversation about reproductive health event. It's running 4 to 7 in the Kirkhoff Grand Salon and Patio, and this is an event that Jessica and Mary at ASUCLA helped us get funding for, and we've been working on since summer. So we would love to see you there, or even just stop by. It's going to be really awesome panel of doctors, student activists, and advocates talking about reproductive health. And 10 organizations are tabling with us, and we have a big giveaway. You have to register on the link on my update sheet in order to qualify, but we're giving away an Apple Watch, AirPods, Polaroid camera, a Walla water bottle, SWC merch. So this is an Walla. So it's gonna be crazy. So see you there. And then our other initiative is the Peer Support Lounge. It was started by my predecessor, Anna Mayer. And basically, it's just using the office we all have, but specifically the SWC one, and opening it up for any student to come and enjoy a quiet space on campus. And we have snacks, coffee, and tea, and just lounge space. And we are planning to open it every week, Tuesday through Thursday, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you all are welcome to come by also for any of those resources. But we are opening that starting next week on Tuesday. And then Body Image Task Force, one of our committees, it has a guest speaker event this Friday with Carly Compton. She has like 75K followers on Instagram, and she is an eating disorder therapist and body liberation advocate. It's 6 to 8 in Math Sciences 5117, and they also have a $50 gift card giveaway with that. So go out to their event. Another one, Health, Nutrition, and Fitness, another one of our committees, it has 2 free Equinox Pilates classes. This week on the 26th, there's 10:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. We're also going on retreat this weekend to Palm Springs with our interns. We have like 40 people. It's going to be so fun, and we're hoping to bond with our whole team. And then lastly, 2 of our committees, Sexperts and Active Minds, are collaborating with UCLA Radio this quarter. So Sexperts has a show Mondays 11 p.m. and then Active Minds has a show on Sundays from 12 to 1. That is all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. We have coffee for Tuesday? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Give me pass the mic. Sorry about your chair.
Oh, my name's Nalette. Hi, nice to meet you guys. I'm actually the transfers of tomorrow intern for EVP, so I'll be around. Awesome. All right. So Tyra is currently out of the UC Regents and will be advocating for racial justice now and opportunity for all. So I'm doing her report for her. Transfers of tomorrow placements have been sent out, so please respond to your interns as they will be working with the TSR internship committee and your office on an event or initiative. We are going through transfer grad applications and may reopen those soon. UC Transfer Mental Health Awareness Week will begin February 12th with UC Berkeley, San Diego, Davis, and Santa Barbara. Armenian Awareness Week with Armenian Students Association and Hidden Roads Initiative will be week 8. And planning a Black Transfer Appreciation Week with ASU for the USAC Black History Month celebration. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay, so let's go to Adam.
Hello, everyone. Yesterday we had our event with the Career Center for internships and jobs for international students. It was a pretty big success. We had about 50 or 60 people show up. I met with Tara to discuss our USAC Black History Month celebration, which we're going to be hosting in May, June-ish. We did some more UCSA International Student Coalition work, and we're working on a very, very big, exciting project for the fall of 2025. We're working with senators from Berkeley to potentially host a UC-wide annual Arab Summit. It's still in the very, very early stages, but it's something that we're looking forward to. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to admin representatives, just a reminder for TSR and ISR to write written reports as well for Sydney and to support all of us so we can see your updates rather than having to re-listen to our recording. Okay,
So let's see, Orlando.
Hello, everyone. Good to be back. I was deathly ill last week, and so thank you all, those that sent me messages, get well messages. I appreciated it. Tomorrow is Soul's Winter One Stop. It's a 2-day event. Tomorrow's in person, Thursday's virtual. Where Soul will host a series of workshops for new registered groups, as well as other types of workshops such as funding, community service training, driver's training. If you're interested in looking at these workshops, they're great, especially if you belong to other groups that are sort of startup groups. These are great workshops to attend. The agenda is on the Soul website. The other thing is I have been working with the Vice Chancellor Monroe Gordon's office on the UC Student Regent recruitment event, which will be happening on February 13th. I'm a little bit behind schedule on that, so I will be reaching out to the USAC's EVP and GSA's EVP to collaborate with them as well. So you should be receiving either, depending on the budget I'm received, Bruin Post and or Daily Bruin advertising on that. So if you're interested in becoming the student region, or you know someone that is, please send them my way or to the town hall that's going to be on February 13th. And I believe that is all I have.
Thank you, Jessica.
Hello. So just a couple things on the SGA front, just some friendly reminders. One, we still are seeing a lot of requisitions coming in requesting reimbursement for electronic payments to other students via Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, things like that. Just a reminder that that's not an approvable expense. So if you are a funding chair or a USAC officer signing off on these rec forms, just keep an eye out for that. You know, in some cases, where you're paying a vendor and the vendor is able to provide an invoice, it may be acceptable, but you should really check before you complete that payment because we might not be able to approve it for expense. So definitely things like, you know, if you're going to personally reimburse a student and then submit a requisition form to reimburse yourself for that transaction, that is not going to be approved. So just a reminder to do your due diligence to keep an eye out for that. And other than that, oh, I guess the other thing, Jonathan might also talk about this, but just also a reminder for your office space. If you are going to be storing food and things in there, it's best to get a secure bin to keep the food within, and definitely don't keep anything that's like open packaging, anything that's in cardboard, just because of the pest issue that we had over break. We want to make sure that we don't have those issues in the future. And so please let us know immediately if you notice something unusual. This way we can look into it. But for sure, if you have food in your office, you should be keeping it in like a plastic bin or something that's a little bit more durable and won't be exposed to pests. And definitely don't leave like food trash. Make sure you put it in the hallway because our amazing custodial team in ASUCLA, they do not go into individual offices to take out trash. You have to specifically request it. But they do take care of like the public hallway receptacles. So just make sure you're disposing of things there. That's it.
Thank you. Lori.
Everybody, sorry, I've like lost my voice since like 7 p.m. I don't know what's happening. My only update is I'm going to create a document and drop it in the Slack channel about how to reserve spaces with rec. I'm seeing a lot of emails of people needing spaces and I can't always stop and check to see if things are available. So this will be the easiest way for you to see what's available and request it so you have no question about space. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, now let's go, Jonathan. Hi. Hey, hi, hello.
Yes. Other office, things, OSAC, did a little office audit of every single student office in Kershaw this past week. If you had any violations, you will be receiving an email. So please keep an eye out for that email and please promptly attend to any violations that your office may have. And I'll be on the stories, some of you. So do keep an eye out, please. Um, if you are in person, you got a laminated off-campus procedures card from me today. At Janice going on your winter retreat, please take this with you. Put it in your office, put it in your first aid kit, preferably somewhere where you'll be able to get it in case anything urgent happens. This isn't only like someone needs to go to the emergency room. This is, you have like a dean of students or a Title IX situation. This is also for those kinds of things. Okay. Don't forget your rec due dates. Your recs for all of fall are due week 5. Friday is fine. Friday of week 5. Thank you. Yeah. I'm sure as you all know, you will need to have a facilities commissioner appointment on the agenda that comes out on Friday in order to be in line with your constitutional duties. Another appointment that I do want to highlight, great to hear that elections is coming, is that Distinguished Teaching Award Committee. They do need someone by February. So. 2 of your board of directors members are going to come next week. So they'll be on next week's agenda. So please come with any questions, comments, or concerns that you have for the ASUCLA board. And then last but not least, thank you, Janice, for recognizing that we do ask to meet with you. I'm sad to report that I have not had a single one-on-one. Yeah, one-on-one. Yeah, so please respond to Emily. Emily Gomez is our student union administrative assistant. She's a wonderful, wonderful, sweet person. And she's doing our scheduling for that. So I would like to, normally we try and do it by end of week 3, but I really would like to at least have one with you before the end of this quarter so we can talk about just like the end of your term, essentially. We're getting to that point, folks. So kind of just all your goals and how we can wrap things up nicely. You know where to find me. Have a good week.
Okay, thank you so much. We have no old business. However, I do want to say since we lost quorum, also guidelines should have been a voting action item, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
raise that, like, actually, I said I was gonna raise that. But anyways, because you said,
We don't have, a quorum. We absolutely do. Like we lost 2 people. It's kind of like.
so.
Yeah, we can approve it. However, I would recommend council review it, especially because next week I do anticipate multiple resolutions on the agenda alongside probably other special presentations as well. So if you all can review it, so we don't have to take as much time on it in the agenda, I think that'd be great. Yep.
We should also come with like a bunch of questions for. Wait, is only gonna be one facilities commissioner candidate between?
Yes.
Council?
That's it.
We should start.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, because I have 2 sections on my updates where it's like SWC wide and then like stuff I'm doing. For the stuff I'm doing, an important thing is I sent an email out to all of the council members about a resolution I'm proposing regarding advocating for academic leniency and improved safety measures on campus in light of Israel-Palestine. And the sooner that we're able to pass some sort of resolution, the sooner we can provide students relief. Because I know hearing from Sujat talk about like the way academic senate works, I'm sure like the resolution is like the baby first step, and then to actually get change, it's gonna be a process. So the sooner I get responses from people, I really hope we can get the resolution into Megan by Friday. So I've already got some feedback from folks. I attached a PDF, but it's just like the preliminary version. We're absolutely open to feedback. And I still need one co-sponsor to be able to put the resolution on the agenda. So if anyone is interested, my text messages are open and my email is open, and my platforms director, Audrey, might be the one responding to you because we're both working on this together. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. This meeting is